What do you get when you cross an elephant, a mountain, and a brilliant military strategist? The answer is Hannibal Barca, one of history's most fascinating figures. Welcome to today's episode of Time Capsule Tales, where we'll take you on a journey through history to explore the captivating story of Hannibal Barca. Our purpose is to bring to life bite-sized bits of history, and Hannibal's story is one that deserves to be told. Hannibal was a brilliant military strategist, Carthaginian general, and one of the most interesting figures of all time. Despite facing off against the mighty Roman Empire, Hannibal's ingenuity and unconventional tactics led him to win stunning victories and leave a lasting impact on the art of warfare. So sit back and join us as we delve into the life and legacy of Hannibal Barca. The year is 218 BC, and the Second Punic War is raging between Rome and Carthage. Hannibal, the young commander of the Carthaginian army, has just crossed the Alps with his army, ready to strike at the heart of Rome. Despite the harsh weather conditions, rugged terrain, and hostile tribes, Hannibal presses on, determined to achieve his goal. Hannibal's army emerged from the Alps battle-hardened and ready for war. He launched a series of bold and unexpected attacks on Rome's allies, winning stunning victories against much larger forces. Hannibal was a master of unconventional military tactics that often caught his enemies off guard. He believed that a successful general must be flexible, adaptable, and creative in their approach to warfare. Hannibal's tactics were often based on exploiting the weaknesses of his opponents, taking advantage of terrain and weather conditions, and using unexpected maneuvers to outmaneuver and outflank his enemies. Hannibal won some of his most significant victories against Rome's allies with his innovative and unconventional tactics. For example, at the Battle of Trebia in 218 BC, he led his army of around 40,000 soldiers against a Roman army of around 60,000. Hannibal used a combination of surprise attacks and ambushes to defeat the Romans, inflicting heavy casualties on their army and forcing them to retreat. Another key tactic Hannibal used was to split his forces and attack on multiple fronts. He would often send a small group of soldiers to engage the enemy's attention, while the bulk of his army would flank them from behind. This tactic was particularly effective against the Roman army, which relied heavily on their superior numbers to overwhelm their enemies. At the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, Hannibal faced a Roman army of around 86,000 soldiers, the largest army ever assembled by Rome up to that point. Hannibal employed his famous double-envelopment tactic, where he surrounded the Roman army on both sides, forcing them into a tight formation that made them vulnerable to attack. The tactic was incredibly successful, and Hannibal's army of around 50,000 soldiers managed to defeat the Roman army, killing around 50,000 soldiers and capturing another 10,000. Hannibal's victory at Cannae is considered one of the most significant military achievements in history. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Hannibal was able to outmaneuver and outthink the Roman army, demonstrating the effectiveness of his unconventional tactics. Hannibal's use of elephants in battle was another famous tactic. He would use these massive animals to charge through enemy lines, causing chaos and confusion. The sight of elephants charging towards them was often enough to break the morale of enemy soldiers, who were not used to facing such formidable opponents. Hannibal also made effective use of the natural terrain, often using mountains, rivers, and valleys to his advantage. He would force his enemies to fight in difficult terrain, where their mobility and ability to maneuver would be severely limited. He would also use ambushes and surprise attacks to catch his enemies off guard and disrupt their formations. In addition to these tactics, Hannibal was a master of psychological warfare. He would often employ deception and misdirection to confuse his enemies and create the element of surprise. He would also use propaganda to undermine the morale of his opponents and create dissent within their ranks. Despite his strategic brilliance, Hannibal could not overcome the might of Rome. He was eventually defeated, and Carthage was forced to sue for peace. Hannibal lived out the rest of his life in exile, but his legacy lived on. He inspired military leaders for centuries to come, and his tactics and strategies are still studied today. In his later years, Hannibal became embroiled in a political dispute in the kingdom where he was exiled. Fearing arrest and execution, he chose to take his own life by ingesting poison. In doing so, he avoided the shame of capture and death at the hands of his enemies. Hannibal's life and accomplishments demonstrate the effectiveness of unconventional tactics and strategies in warfare. He challenged the might of Rome and won stunning victories against much larger and better equipped armies. He remains a legendary figure in military history, and his tactics and strategies continue to inspire military leaders around the world. If you'd like to delve deeper into Hannibal's story, don't forget to explore the fantastic resources provided in the show notes. You'll find a variety of materials, including books, articles, documentaries, and podcasts. Additionally, if you want to stay connected with us on social media, you can find the links there too. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through history with Time Capsule Tales. We hope you enjoyed exploring the past with us and that we've ignited your curiosity for more untold stories. Don't forget to join us next time as we uncover the captivating tale of Virginia Hall, a one-legged spy operating out of France during World War II. And as always, stay curious.